Hello, it's Nadine here, and we're here for this week's episode of Life, Health, and the Universe, and we are with Jay Harvey Yin, who is my guest today. Now, I like doing an intro of my guests from my point of view, and then she can correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm going to go with some of the things that I think I know. There's a broad spectrum, right? So Jay is a multi-passionate entrepreneur. Therefore, there is a broad spectrum of things. She's a mum. She's a spiritual woman, a nail artist, I think, beauty therapist. Would that be correct? Reiki healer, and an NDIS service provider.
Yeah.
So massive spectrum, and I've probably, I reckon, missed some things out. But welcome. I'm really looking forward to catching up with you because it's been a while, Crocodile.
It has, and I love to see your face.
Yeah.
People, you can't see her, but she just radiates joy and love, and I love that. So I'm so delighted to be here.
And I really think that this is our vibe, right? So life, health, and the universe, because they're all connected, and we can have the most diverse life experiences, but we can be connected in so many ways, even though it's like, I don't know anything about nails, but you know, we've still got all of these other things in common, which I think is just beautiful. So do you want to tell us a little bit about you and who you are? What's going on for you right now? Like, who would you say you are?
I guess the nail beauty therapy thing is something that's probably in my past. You know, that was something that I identified with and was a huge part of my life. I love it. But now I think I kind of radiate as the going into the wise woman state.
I love it.
I'm not quite in the crone. Let's not talk about crone. I'm just going past the mother, but I think that this spiritual journey and helping women, you know, be the best they can be, and in that process trying to do that myself. So not perfect. Look at my top, perfectly imperfect. You know, but we just give it the best we can. So I think these days I probably resonate most as a Reiki healer.
Yep.
Maybe a coach, but I haven't explored that fully yet. I subliminally coach, you know, like it's not something that I do for moolah. And I'm really enjoying, I'm just about to finish a year-long Reiki mastery program that is one-on-one with a mentor, a couple of hours a week. And it's been a huge journey for me. It's so interesting. And just pulling all of the things, life, health, and universe all into the one, and working out where my superpower is going to be in that field. Because I think when I first thought of Reiki, and I don't know if your listeners know Reiki, but basically Reiki is a form of energy healing. It's an ancient practice, came from the Tibetan monks, but was renewed by Mikao Usui about 100 years ago, a Japanese traditionalist. And that's the type of Reiki that I practice. And I've lost my train of thought now. I've got, you know.
Oh, you were just saying like about where you're trying to find your groove with it. Like what's your
where I'm at with it, you know, and doing this Reiki mastery thing, you know, one of the things in mastery is being able to teach. And I've been a teacher for about 25 years. Yes, everybody, I'm old, but that's okay. I'm embracing it. Okay, not quite the crone. I'm still
not that
grown.
Old.
Yeah, no, I'm 53. Okay, I'm putting it out there. I'm owning it. You know, I have all the things like menopause and, you know, brain fog. Anyway, and doing this Reiki journey has just been so enlightening because it makes you realize what your skills are, what, you know, how you're going to share that with the world. And I never thought going into it that I would teach Reiki.
Right.
and I can't help it, because as a Reiki master, that's what you're priming yourself for. But often people do Reiki mastery just as a weekend, and then it becomes, I think you never master Reiki. I think you're always a student of it. But I'm kind of excited at the prospect of teaching other people and going along as a witness to their journey, which I never
Yeah,
thought going
right.
in that I would be
Okay.
able to do that, but I think, innately I'm a teacher. I like sharing knowledge and stories and things like that. So maybe that's where I'll go down the track. But right now, it's about, for me right now, it's about finding balance between my own health, which I just recently got diagnosed with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, which was a big shock to me. It answered a lot of questions, actually, but I'd never really thought, because I just go. I'm go Power
Right.
Rangers. I'm always doing things. I never stop. And then when I stop, I kind of crash and burn, which, explains it. So I've really been spending the last maybe year focusing heavily on my health. The diagnosis was only a few months ago, so I've really amped it up. And I think the thing that we as women don't do is give ourselves permission to pause.
Oh, amen.
We don't stop, do we? And
No.
I slept in this morning because I've just come off 6 days. I also work in disability, which is amazing. Our business teaches people with a disability to communicate and social skills. So my life is hilarious. I have these amazing souls that just give me so much joy every single day. And we do art and craft, bingo. I'm a professional dancer because I, get paid to do discos.
Classic.
And, we go on excursions. So I had just come off like 6 days straight of intense. And I was like, thank God for Tuesday. I just need my day off. And I slept in this morning, and I was saying to somebody, I feel a bit guilty about
I was
that.
going to say, did you feel guilty?
Yes, and then I was
Yep.
like, no, frick that. I'm not being guilty. I am owning that sleep in. I needed it. My body needed it. So I'm having it.
It's so ingrained, isn't it? I was my kids just started some sport after school, right? And I said to my husband, if you want them to do sport, you organize it, right? But I still have to pick them up from school and drop them. And then they're at sport with my husband. And last week I was like, maybe I'll just go home and read my book for 20 minutes. And then I was like, no, I'll feel too guilty. I should be doing like
What is that? Stop.
dinner and what the hell?
And the funny thing is, and this is no comment on men at all. Well, it's sort of
Kind of.
it kind of is, but it's not a judgment.
Yes.
It's so interesting that I think the minute we give birth as women, we get infused also with the guilt.
Yes.
And men just don't seem to have that. And they can't even understand why we would feel guilty. And I love that. So I kind of want to bring in some of the divine masculine element around guilt and banish it. Because, every time I notice myself being guilty, I do sort of go, okay, Jay, why are you feeling like that? Let's break the pattern.
Yeah.
No, but sometimes you're just so busy being guilty that you forget to notice. And
the thing is, it's made up in our own heads.
100%.
No one has said, well, my husband certainly doesn't say, well, no, you can't read your book. You need to be at home doing all of these things. Otherwise, you're a bad person. He wouldn't even notice half the time if I didn't clean.
It's so insane. It is the inner mean girl in us. We are such biatches to ourselves, like such biatches. And I see it in my clinic all the time. The words that we use to describe ourselves. I mean, even when I was getting ready for this thing, I text you and said, am I going to be on camera? How vain is that? But that's because the inner mean girl's going, oh yeah, I've got a little thing going on my nose. People will judge me. Like, what on earth are we talking about? Like, it doesn't change the value that we have as human beings. That people don't even notice that stuff. Only we do. And then we're so mean. So I purposefully try to banish the inner mean girl.
Mm.
One of my philosophies, in my fabulosity lifestyle, which is another community that I have of women and mission, to make us feel good in our own skins, because, I am here to say that I'm not perfect in that, but I do try, and I've got lots of little hacks and things, to try to flip the narrative in our mind, because, it's insane that we're so mean to each other. And you try to break those in your children, particularly in your daughters.
Yes. I wanted to talk to you about mothering daughters, because you've got 2 daughters. How old are they now?
Coming up for 26
Oh, wow.
and just turned 19. So they are little gorgeous adults. And
Is that how you always talk about them?
Well, no, not always. No,
But
they
that's
are
hard
my
in
greatest
itself, isn't it? Right?
well, they're my greatest gift and my biggest challenge,
Yes.
especially with the youngest one at the moment. She's going through that I hate my mum stage, where
Right.
she doesn't want to, engage with me. And it's so hurtful. And I'm sure women out there will understand who have this situation. And it's the guilt too. Like, I feel guilty because I'm not contacting her, but she doesn't feel guilt for not contacting me.
Right.
Like, look at that. So I think the transition from children to adolescents to adult children is quite an interesting thing to navigate. And I think very, very different with girls to boys.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a boy and he's only 7, almost 8. But yeah, I agree. And I've talked about this with people before, and it's like that. There's a lot of unpacking that has to be done. Like with a boy, if they're like moody or like a bit aggressive, you're like, oh, it's their hormones, and it's all very nice, and like he's boisterous, get after it, boy. And with the girl, if she has any kind of attitude that doesn't fit in with the good girl thing, it's like she's bossy, she's a bitch.
What is that? Why do we see we're perpetuating the mean girl bull crap? I can't even. And I'm so guilty of doing it too.
Totally.
I had the first sort of adult conversation with my youngest the other day, and she paid out on me like I would never pay out on my mother that way. And I think it's just the generations. And we, as I'm 53, and we were seen, not heard as children. Little girls aren't allowed to do that. That's kind of the programming. And I think we, as a generation, because I've spoken to quite a few of my friends, wanted the best for our children, and we didn't set as many boundaries, I don't think. We tried to break the mold of what we couldn't have or whatever, and it kind of screwed us up a little bit, because like now they're poo-poo heads, and you're like, okay, well, how are we going to, overcome that? And it's funny because I have an older mum, and she's, she recently had a fall, and we've had some challenges, and we've been talking about next stage and, should she stay at home and all that kind of stuff. And it's really interesting because I am an observer, and because I'm on this spiritual path, I really do pay attention and try to notice my reaction to things and how other people react. And I try not to judge, but I just notice. And I've noticed that the older I get, the more I appreciate my mother. And so I'm praying that I did the foundational work with my 2, and that, eventually they'll come around and see me as a human. But this, conversation I had with her the other day, I think, for the first time she saw me as a woman and not just as a mother. And I have flaws, and one of the things I stand by is that I try to own my own shit. Oh, I hope I'm not last week. Sorry.
Oh, absolutely. Go.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, good. Okay, sorry, people, because I'm, I let all those things out. Yeah. And so I do own my own behavior as much as I can. And, and I think for her to see that now, she might have a totally different take on the conversation, but I really felt like I listened to her and I was heard. And that was a real breakthrough for us, I doubt she sees it the same, but it was for me. And I think we have to learn as women And that's part of the growth of this journey, is that we have to start embracing ourselves and our own journey and our own sleep in and our own life and foibles and all, banish the inner biatch and really live our lives, because we only get one shot at it, don't we?
Well, depends.
Well, yes, okay, that's a whole nother conversation. Let's do that. In this lifetime, we get one shot, so we you have a choice every day. I was just doing a reel. Oh God, social media does you anyway. I was doing a reel this morning, and I was talking about the choice of language, using different language, and I was saying, you've got a choice to use high vibe words or low vibe words, and so many people are stuck in that kind of, how are you? Oh, and you just want to smack them up and go, listen, you're alive. This is an amazing day. What the hell? Who cares if things go wrong? Because everything goes wrong. You've got options to say, people will say to me, how you doing, Jay? And I'm like, fantastic. And some days I do not feel fantastic. Just, but if you choose that word,
create your reality, right? You change. You can't say fantastic and not feel a bit fantastic.
I know. And if you're feeling shit, smile at a stranger or smile at yourself in the mirror, and all of a sudden, just even everybody, try it now, okay? Just smile. I get the giggles a bit, but you can't help but feel better. So, and now frown like frown.
It's hard work, frowning.
It's so much harder to smile. So just smile, and if that's one thing you take out of this conversation, it's working with my disabled participants teaches me to be silly. And I think as grown-ups and as kids, we're told, don't be silly, don't be silly. Well, I say do be silly, because the sillier you are, the higher vibe you feel. And, there's nothing, I will often have a dance break during the day. They think I'm a bit crazy, but I don't care, because everybody's concentrating on their own thing. Nobody's talking. They're all in their own headspace. And then I start, waltzing with my crazy bright clothes and doing my happy dance. Sometimes I'll get them up dancing and they're like, oh, but you can't help but feel that joy. And
absolutely.
Chasing joy, I think, is what I am here on earth to do.
Playing is really healthy. Yeah.
So,
when your kids are a bit older now, but I don't know if you ever got on the swings or the roundabout at the playground, and it's like freedom to just
Mom,
play.
you're so embarrassing. Oh, shut up. We're just embracing the joy.
We go, oh, well, I shouldn't do it because what will everyone think?
Yeah.
But everyone was going down the slippery dip. Wow.
I know. And it's funny because
fun.
when my kids were your age, I've always had a battle with weight. And I really realize how much of my life I missed because I was scared of what people thought, because I was a bigger woman, and I was, the biggest judge. One of the things that I love about today's world and today's younger women is they embrace their size, shape, no matter what it is. And I sometimes check myself, because I can see myself living in that 80s world of judging, oh, she's got a big butt. Well, now go big butt. They love the big butt. They call it thick. It's great. I mean, that's a compliment. And I was like, really? Compliment? But actually it is a compliment. To see a woman embrace herself no matter what size she is just an amazing thing. It's a long journey though to self-acceptance. And I did lose a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But it's a constant battle not to see myself as the fat girl.
Right. So tell us a bit about that. What was the thing that made you decide that you were going to do it? Because you've lost a lot of weight, right?
Yes. So pretty much my whole upbringing and no dissing my parents, but it was all about, I was always considered fat. So I had lots of nicknames around being fat, and I identified as being fat. Like when I was born, I was fat. I had lay upon lay upon lay. I was the Michelin child. I was always fat. I was a dancer at school, but I was always bigger than everybody else. And so, but I always believed in not dieting, because I believe that if you get in the diet cycle, you end up, down, up, down. And I saw that in my mother and my sister who did that. Yeah, I resisted until I was about 23. And then it just all got too much. And I started in that diet cycle.
Okay.
And I was, always concentrate. I did Gloria Marshall. I did, I've done I've literally, if you could name any weight loss thing, I've done it. I'm an expert in weight loss stuff, yet still have that inner battle of liking myself, really. It's not as bad now. I can look at myself nudie in the mirror and go, yeah, it's pretty good, really. It's not too bad. But I did, look, in the end, I made the radical decision to have surgery, which was a huge decision for me. And I had a lap band. And I was the poster girl for it. I went and spoke to the other fatties, and I, did everything right, and it never worked. And I had it for 7 years. And the thing about the lap band is that all the good food is virtually impossible to eat. The crap food just turns into liquid and goes straight through. So you end up eating crap food just to get sustenance, and it's a flawed principle. Anyway, and then
so did you say it didn't work?
No. So it didn't work at all. Like, even though it worked temporarily, but I think that was just the shakes in prior to the surgery.
Yeah.
So committed. I'm never going to be fat again principle. Anyway, it just kind of didn't work. And then so my surgeon was kind of my friend in a way, because I was so committed to the process and did everything right. And he was like, I don't know why this isn't working, Jay. And anyway, I heard about a friend of mine in the States had this sleeve gastrectomy surgery, and it was brand new in Australia. And I went to see my surgeon. I said, Richard, I want this sleeve thing. Do you do it? And he said, well, I've just started. Let's do it. Wow, it's the best thing I ever did in my life for myself.
Really?
The difference is they make your stomach the size of a banana, and pretty much you can't fit in. So it's like Christmas Day if you eat too much, but you can eat anything you want. So all of a sudden the world opens to you, and your body requires certain nutrients to exist. Otherwise you just wear yourself out. So I learned very, very quickly to focus on protein first, lots of veggies, raw food, like that kind of thing. I had chocolate every single day. Did you hear that, everybody? Every single day of my weight loss, because I love chocolate so much. But I just couldn't eat a whole block anymore. Could only eat, a fun-sized bar. So it's really the best thing I've ever done. And I have kept the weight off now. I probably lost about 48 kilos.
Wow.
I've kept the weight off for like 9 years, and I'm coming up for my 10-year anniversary of my sleeve, but I put on a bit of weight through menopause. Like it just put on about 10 kilos, which I didn't love. So I've really been refocusing. I got a bit slack with the nutrition, so I've really been refocusing on nutrition now. I watch my supplementation, really make sure that I'm getting the protein that I require. And after the chronic fatigue, since I've doubled down on the nutrition, it's made a huge difference to the chronic fatigue. So I was getting brain fog. I couldn't even remember words. I couldn't talk. Surprise, surprise. People, I don't shut up.
Do you think that any of that was because like if your stomach's smaller, then you haven't got as much opportunity to get as much in, and so if you're eating stuff that's not as favorable,
100%.
You're just
100%. That's exactly right. Like I just wasn't getting enough of
the right things,
or nutrients, and the thing is because you do fill up pretty quick. Like when I first started with the sleeve, I couldn't even eat like a cup full of food. Now I can eat like a side plate's worth. I can go out to dinner and not look like an anorexic crazy person. Like that was very hard. And I just know that if I don't waste my calories and the room on things like bread. Unless I'm desperate, and then I'll have a piece of toast because that goes in easier, but I've really used it as a tool to recognize, and nobody likes the feeling of I say it's Christmas Day, after you've eaten everything. It's awful. You feel lethargic.
It's terrible.
Yeah. That's how I describe it. If I overeat, that's how I feel. So I love the sleeve. I think it's beautiful. But I do think now a lot of people are having it and not doing their apprenticeship first, and then they expect things, still eat the crap, and then expect to lose the weight. But the very good thing about it was that it came off very quickly.
Right.
And so it's very inspiring because within a year you've lost, like within 4 months, I'd lost 30 kilos, and I was like, wow, I feel amazing.
Winning. Yeah.
And then I went and I did the things, like I've had the tummy tuck because I had so much.
Have you?
Yeah, I did that. And because I still would see that skin, think I was fat. And I would go to the plastic surgeon, and she'd say, it's not fat, Jay, it's skin. And I'm like, no, it's fat. And now it's gone. So I've got a nice flat tummy, and, I'm living the life.
Yoo-hoo. So do you, with the body image stuff, do you feel like, well, there's not a focus on that, right? If you have any kind of surgery, there's no focus on dealing with that behavioral stuff or that kind of self-worth, or why do I eat this much? Or
there really is. And a lot of people think that surgery is, the easy way out. And you get a lot of prejudice about that. And I know lots of people that have had it, and I'm like, no. This was last resort for me. I couldn't do, and there was nothing else I could do. And in order to, the surgeon that I worked with, you had to go through training. You had to go to a psychologist.
Okay.
You had to go to a dietitian, a behavioral specialist,
okay.
And do all of the things first. And then after the surgery, you had to do the same, keep going so that you could, in fact, succeed. Because I think that, obesity and body image is a huge thing. And it's funny because my partner said to me the other day, I said something, I don't know, we were talking about clothes. And I said, oh, no, she's way littler than me. That won't fit. Don't bring it over. He sells secondhand goods. And I'm like, no, I don't want it because it won't fit me. And I've always had that, it won't fit me. And he goes, Jay, do you even understand how big you are? And that's something I don't understand. I can't look at myself and go, I couldn't put myself in a lineup and say that's where I fit,
Wow.
But on the other hand, I'm in a good space where I think, okay, I'm a 10 to 12, maybe a 14 on the top because I do have a spinal issue that makes me a bit bigger. And, and so I'm comfortable with that. Most of the time. There are days, where you feel like a blob, but most of the time I'm kind of comfortable in my own skin now. I never thought I'd be like that.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. And now I just change the focus to health. It's not about weight loss for me.
Yep.
It's all about making sure that I get the right nutrition in my body.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a key for everyone, really, is there's too much of a focus on the whole body image thing. Like, where does it all come from? But people get so caught up in that, and all of the emotional stuff that goes with it, it becomes a real barrier. But if you focus on health like you are, and like making sure you choose things that are going to be favorable for your body to make it function properly.
100%. I was so dehydrated. Like, one of the things that was a problem for me is that because of the sleeve, I didn't drink enough. And I can see you as you're taking a swig of your drink. Yeah. And one of the downsides of the sleeve for me was that I have chronic heartburn, and water of all things gives me the worst heartburn. So now I drink tea because tea has a little bit more weight and so it doesn't come back up.
Okay.
But I was, I'd have dry eyes, my hoo-ha was a bit dry, I would have chronic cystitis, and it was all through the fact that I was dehydrated.
Wow.
And I didn't pinpoint that. And when you fix the hydration as well, you feel so much better.
Yeah.
I say one thing on that. Look, having a support team around you, around your weight loss or your body or your nutrition makes a huge difference. My current partner, even though my ex-husband was very supportive, he never really was supportive, like of the journey. Whereas my partner now loves the food that I create. He loves the color. He loves the raw. He loves, and sometimes I'll make a dish and I go, I don't know about that one. And he goes, yeah, no, me either, but we won't do that one again. But having someone, like, he doesn't need to lose weight.
Yeah.
He just does it because he feels better and likes the food. And that makes a huge difference to my life because I'm not cooking for separate, just healthy, good, nutritious, bright, colourful food,
Yeah.
So good. I love
that.
I
know, it's so good. It's so good. I'm going to completely change tack.
Okay, sure.
Well, not really. Like I think, all of the stuff that you were saying is really interesting. I want to go back to the healing stuff because, it kind of coincides. I wonder whether your interest in like Reiki and healing and your spiritual journey, has it coincided with that stuff to do with your body image?
Kind of. I really feel like we've got past lives. I'm sure I was a healer in another life.
Right.
I've always been drawn to books about medicine, history, witches, sort of all of that stuff. And I have always had good hands. So when I say that, I'm a touchy-feely person. In fact, sometimes I'm inappropriate. I don't really mean it. I just do it just because, like, I just can't help myself. And it's just natural for me when I'm under stress, I'll do tickles on people. Like my staff used to laugh because we'd be doing the accounts and I'd go just trying to find the, whatever, and I'd be tickling their back and they'd be like, Jay, I can't concentrate. And I'm like, well, sorry, too bad. You have to just do that. Anyway, and and as a beauty therapist, my clients would say to me, you have such healing hands, and I've been massaging for 30 odd years, and I never really put two and two together, that interest and being a healer. And for a long time, even after I did my Reiki training, I didn't call myself a healer. In fact, I tend to call myself a Reiki practitioner. And that's my own battle between the world of woo-woo and this traditional business world that I was in. I ran a large business with quite a number of staff. I think at one point I had 14 staff. We were turning lots. It was very busy, this global thing. I was always traveling. It was, so I was fighting this, traditional role model I was supposed to be. And then I was this kind of woo-woo. My motto for my whole life is it's all about the love. Like I've always been about love. And so I've kind of battled, and I'm a Gemini, so I have this duality anyway in me, where I'm kind of woo-woo, kind of traditional. And so I've kind of I rejected the woo-woo because I thought I wouldn't be taken seriously. And then I had kind of a life-changing event when I got divorced about 4.5, 5 years ago. And I pretty much lost everything. I lost my identity. I lost my business. I didn't lose it. I chose. I just want everyone to know that the loss can be through a choice as well. Yes. So I chose my ex-partner, he wanted the business, which was mine, and I was done with it anyway. But when I stepped away from it, I realized that a lot of my identity was that business. I'd been doing it for 18, 20 years. I was the go-to beauty girl and nail judge, international nail judge. And, I kind of knew stuff, and I supplied salons, and I was their mentor for years and years and years. So I lost that a lot. I was the happily married woman, and I was no longer married. I was the mother. I no longer had the children with me as much, and a lot, even my car, like my house, I had the Barbie dream home. Everything went, and I had to kind of refocus and think, well, what the bloody hell, who am I? What's going on? And I guess I had menopause as well. So that's a huge change in a woman's life. And I was like, okay, we're going to have to relearn. And I went and had a Reiki treatment. And I was like, because I always was a bit prejudiced against it because I'm a touchy-feely person, and Reiki's hands off if you want.
Okay, yes.
And I'm like, no, I want to touch people, I want to get in their space and make them feel good, And so anyway, I got a gift. I went and had this Reiki, met this amazing human who I adore. Her name's Norma. She changed my life. And I thought she was doing a course in Reiki 1. And I'm like, I might just go and do that. And she rang me. And because I had run a school, we'd often, if there was one person in the class, we would postpone the class because it wasn't really financially viable. And she rang me like the night before the class and said, I'm really sorry, but you're the only one. So I was preparing myself to, not do the course. And she said, would it be okay if we just did it one-on-one? I'm like, are you on drugs? Yeah, of course, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And it happened to be the very first wedding anniversary after I separated. And it was the universe, talking about the universe, gift to me, I'm sure. And it transformed my life that weekend.
Wow.
Because I really learned a lot about myself, and that was when it began. And it fascinated me that, someone could heal through,
energy,
channeling this energy that's universal energy. Reiki stands for universal energy. It's the chi, which is the Ki, is universal energy, and it's using and harnessing that universal energy to clear blocks in the body, to encourage the body to do what only the body can do, and that's heal itself. Like a doctor can't heal you. I can't heal anybody, but I can help your body be in the best receptive way to heal itself. And that's what I find. It's amazing. And every day, when I do sessions, like I don't call myself a psychic, but and I'm still,
a bit though, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit. And yeah, because it's so crazy. Like, let me tell you this crazy story, right? It's a random story, and I'm sure I won't name names, but I met this woman, never had it before. She was on my table. I get to the knee, so it's kind of, we're nearly done sort of thing. I've already grounded you. I'm just, doing the knee. And I got this overwhelming sense of sorrow. Like, I just wanted to cry, like, so bad. This sorrow. And then I saw this image of this puppy running down the beach and laughter. And I was like, oh my Lord. Anyway, I said to her afterwards, as I do with all my clients, would you like to know what came through for me? It's your choice. And she said, of course, and I said, I said this thing, and she just started crying. And I was like, oh my God, and she had this puppy during COVID lockdown, and it died.
Oh.
And it broke her into a million pieces. But that very morning, she had gone and chosen a new puppy. It had been 18 months since this sadness, and she was finally feeling ready.
Oh, wow.
And it was just that validation for her that this new puppy was okay to let go of that. I mean, that's so random. Like, how on earth?
That's totally random, isn't it?
Totally random, but it was just that validation she needed, and I did another woman, and I got this pain in my ear, and I said to her, look, this is going to sound crazy, but I think you need to get your left ear checked out. And she goes, oh my God, I burst my eardrum, and I was supposed to go to the specialist. I go to the specialist. Go to the specialist. You have to go. And I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm learning to trust that and trust that intuition. And that's the fun part for me. And I say to people, look, the only thing I can guarantee in treatment is that you'll probably feel lighter than you did when you came in, and you'll feel relaxed, and receptive maybe. So that's all I ever promise, because but someone said to me the other day, oh, you put the Moz on me, or what. I thought Reiki could put the Moz on, and I'm like,
What does that mean?
are you joking? I go, Reiki literally cannot harm you. If I go and give you Reiki, there's no way that can harm you. It was so funny.
Like the hex on them, is it?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh my God, no. Like Reiki is just pure love. Like that's why I love it so much. And in fact, I don't know why I called my business Reiki Love J. And that's exactly what and like sometimes it's Reiki Love J. But it's all tied in together because I just love Reiki so much. And I never thought I would love that, but I do. And one of the things about Reiki is working on yourself, because you can't heal others. It's like putting on, in the plane, when the plane goes down, they say, put on your mask first before you help others. That's exactly how I kind of, explain Reiki. I have to, every day, I'm not always perfect, but I do, there's a set of principles that we live under in the Isui method, and I recite those principles every day, and I've learnt them in Japanese as well. And
Great.
These, and I do it in the shower, and I make it a little ritual, because otherwise, if I had to make time for it, I'm showering every day. That's not negotiable for me. So I just do it in the shower. It's part of my thing in the shower, and I just do that, And so for me, my goal is to embody Reiki. I've always said, we met each other, through the Fabulosity thing, and I always walk the walk. I'm so not perfect, but I do my best to walk, do what I say I'm going to do, and I really do feel like in everything I do now, I try to embody Reiki. I mean, I walk down the street sending rainbow light to people that aren't smiling, and when ambulances come past, I send Reiki, and we can't give Reiki without consent, but sometimes you can ask permission from your higher self. So if I'm driving along and I see an ambulance, I'm like, please, can I send for the higher good? And then I'll just send some Reiki, like I'm a maniac for it. But it's beautiful. It's such a gift. I'm so grateful for
it sounds amazing.
That,
Are you getting Reiki treatments for your sickness, for your fatigue and
I do
fibromyalgia?
Self Reiki every day. Well, actually, I'm a bit crap. I do self Reiki regularly.
Is that hard?
No, it's actually just you sort of get into the zone, and then because it's not you. When I first started,
you kind of direct energy.
You just direct the energy. There's hand positions, and and it's about getting yourself receptive, really, and getting in the space. And it's crazy because I'll sort of go Reiki on, like it's a superpower, and then my hands light up, and I can feel it. Like now, I've just said the words, and it's like my hands are on fire. It's crazy. It's so crazy. It's not crazy. It's magic, but it's sometimes it astounds me that it can even work. But I do a couple of things. Like I do a monthly Reiki circle with my mentor and other Reiki practitioners. And we have soul contracted homework each month where we get partnered with somebody, and we give each other Reiki every day. We send each other Reiki every day, because you can do distance Reiki, and I've given Reiki to many people overseas.
You've given it to me, I think.
Yes, and and we've never met in real life, and it's the craziest thing. And it's crazy that it works from distance. But I actually love doing distance, so much, because I think it's profound, the things that come through. But so I do Reiki Circle once a month, and then I've got a really gorgeous friend that I met through that, and we sometimes swap. So I'll get on her bed or she'll get on mine or whatever, and give the gift of Reiki to each other, because I think that you sometimes forget. And but I kind of stay within my circle, because I'm building a business as a Reiki practitioner. I've just moved to a new part of town. I have to start again, So I don't want to confuse my mind by comparisonitis. So so I pretty much just stay in my own lane, and try not, because there's a few practitioners around and I could probably network with them, but I'm just like, no, just do your thing, Jade.
You just got to go with the vibe that works for you, don't you?
You absolutely do.
Yeah.
And people who are attracted to you. And it took me a while to understand that I could still be a sparkly, fabulous Reiki practitioner, because I think when you think of when I used to think of a Reiki practitioner, I think of this like Zen hippie chick, that
Yes.
drank from the mineral springs of life, and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm just a real human that wants to help other humans,
Yes.
other women mostly, but I love treating men as well. But yeah, what my mentor said to me, Jay, you have to do you. How do you do Jay? Jay, do you. Jay, do you. And I'm like, oh, what does that look like? And I'm like, it looks like this, with pink nails and a hot pink top that says perfectly imperfect, like with the bleach blonde hair and, the craziness of me. I believe in joy and sparkle and love. And
Yeah,
it's
lovely.
taken me this long, like one whole year of fortnightly one-on-one mentorship for 2 hours every fortnight to actually bloody believe that that's my gift. It's going to be people who resonate and need some joy and love and care and sparkle will come and feel better,
Yeah.
as a result. I'm a big hugger, it's all about the
Yeah.
love, baby. Yeah. So
Oh, that's lovely. I was gonna, oh, so along those lines, like, what was I thinking about? I can't remember. I've lost my thread.
I like it.
Um, are you into like, well, for some people, Reiki sounds like magic, right? There's
Yeah.
going to be there is science behind it. There's proof that
100%.
there is a quantum field and that
All
we need to tap into it and whatnot. Do you practice magic? I know that you're into manifesting. Like, would
Yes,
you
look,
consider magic?
I think I'm totally a manifester. And it's funny because I have always in my life, and I am so, 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 so grateful for this, got what I wanted. But the trick that I learned when I was very young is that you have to be careful what you ask for.
Ah,
And, when I really want something, I usually get it, or I work hard to get it.
yeah.
And I am a manifester, but I'm not a woo-woo manifester where I just go, okay, and it's, like that kind of magic. But I do think I have magic within. I think we all have magic.
Mm,
I have actually been exploring, the witch wound. I think I was a witch, in the old days, a good witch. And someone actually described me as a white witch the other day, and I was like, oh, how do I feel about that?
I've had my birth chart done, and the guy, I'd never met him before. He said some stuff, and I was like, "How the hell do you know that my eyesight's going?" Anyway, he said some people might see you as a witch, which I would say you are.
Love it.
Yeah, and he said,
It's so much.
"Wear your broomstick with pride."
Oh my God, I love that man. No, it's quite interesting. And when you look at the history of witches and the history of women and the patriarchy, this is a whole podcast on its own.
Totally.
But what
You're
I'm
coming
going to
back.
say is that we just need to take back our womanhood, and I love sitting in circle with women, embracing women in all our foibles, and understanding each other, from that point of view. I love it. And so that's the end of that. Because the witch thing, I could go on for like 3 hours.
Okay. Well, you're going to have to come back.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I'd love that. But the other thing with this, I'm a bit of a science geek, duality Gemini. Like, I want to know why. I'm the kid that wants to know why. I studied science. I love science. And I've just started doing sound healing.
Ooh.
And I've made my own drum. Oh my Lord, you should see it. It's beautiful. And I have these amazing chimes. I'm just going to grab one right now. That's what they look like. They're kind of like on wood, and they resonate at. I'm just grabbing it because I just want to play one just so you can hear it.
Great.
They resonate at different frequencies. So these are chakra chimes, and And I've started doing it. And I was talking to a musician the other day, and he was so fascinated by it because obviously he's into the groove of it. And I'm like, well, I do sort of get into the groove, when I'm doing it,
Yeah.
and play different tunes and things. But it's crazy that these resonate at different frequencies. You put them on the chakra points on the body, and then as you play them, it'll be ding, 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 dong when there's a block. And it's I swear to God, I play it exactly the same,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's donk, and you just keep going, and you pull it out one end, or take it to the heavens, or down to Mother Earth, and then all of a sudden it'll be ding, 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 and then another one will donk, and and I throw Reiki into the mix as well because that's how I'm reading, and interpreting in my own mind, and it's fascinating. So I'm loving that, and my sister's around Australia at the moment, and it's breaking my heart because I miss her so much. And I said to her, I really am wanting Indigenous instruments if possible. So she has been going to all these different. I don't know what you call it, an Aboriginal like concession. They call them reservations with the.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You're the home of the Aboriginal people,
Sure.
And sharing space with them, hearing their stories, and then saying about me. And she's got me some amazing connected Indigenous, and I just thought, oh my God, it's just when you play them, it's like otherworldly. It's so good.
Wow.
I'm loving that. But the science of it is that the frequencies resonate with the frequencies of your body, and like talking about high vibe words and energy, and and we clean the aura, and it's just like so woo-woo, but so fantastic.
But like you say, it's all been proven. Like I've been listening to Joe Dispenza a bit lately, and like he actually says that when you understand the science, you're actually much more likely to get the benefits from doing the practices. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, because you open your mind to it, and you start to understand what's going on.
And I have been in conflict with that because I wanted to know why. But part of my Reiki mastery program was developing my intuition. And so and trusting the process, and trusting the universe, spirit, one, she, whatever you want to call it, and that's been really challenging for me because I'm like, I just want to know, and like there's some fundamental things that I have to know, and hadn't got to them yet, and I'd be like, oh, this is so frustrating me, and every week I'd have to do notes on, and send them back to her on what, and she'd be like, and what's challenging you with your study of Reiki? Well, having to give in to trust is really, shitting me because I really want to know why I do that and stuff like that. But it's quite interesting because I think we're all a bit like that. We want to know why.
Oh, totally.
But then almost when you understand the science, it's much easier to just give into the process, surrender, and that's very powerful to learn to surrender,
But then I guess there's that whole other side of things where, like, I think that as humans, we're so focused on why. So, I walk every morning with the dog, and I'm looking at the clouds and sometimes the moon and the stars, and I'm like, it's amazing. And like, I'm full of wonderment for all of these things because it changes every day. And but we have all the answers. How were the clouds made? What different clouds, different shapes mean different weather?
I know.
To kids, oh, look at the moon. Isn't that nice? Like, we don't, it's like, it's a planet floating in the freaking sky above us. Like, it's amazing. But because we have all the answers, it just normalizes stuff. And you're right. Like what your teachers doing, your mentors doing, encouraging you to use your intuition
and notice.
Because we know all the answers. We don't listen to our internal capabilities and our,
100%. And
intuition.
one of the things that I had to study was A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And there's loads of things that are highlighted, but one of the things for me that I really discovered in that book is that I spent a lot of time in the doing and not a lot of time in the being. And we are human beings, and I think we're so worried about being adult, our life adulting, that we forget that there's a little inner girl inside us, that wants to be playful and silly. And Eckhart says about noticing, taking the eagle view and noticing things. And I think it's something that you have to practice, but the more you do it, the more joyous and happier your life is. When you notice the moon, just bask in the glory of her, and then I think, even if your brain goes, oh my, it's in this stage, we're on a waning moon and it's going to mean this in our life and blah, 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 blah. That's okay too, but just notice that you're doing it, have a chuckle at yourself, and then go back to saying, oh, she's fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this gift, this moment. The life is a bunch of moments, but we're so busy paying attention to the next lot and what we haven't got that we forget that this wonderful moment is never going to come again.
That's right.
And it's beautiful. It's such a gift. And I really recommend reading that book, but it's very hard.
He's pretty heavy, isn't he? I haven't ever read any of his stuff, but I've heard that
if you can get through the first couple of chapters, and it's really worth it. And it isn't really until the last chapter that you go, oh, yeah, right, I got it. And it's quite dry, and I've had a couple of goes at it, but this time I really studied it because I had to. And Oprah Winfrey, God love her cotton socks, did a special with him, and it's on YouTube and it's free and you can watch it. So I did that with it. So I read the chapter and then they discuss it, and then they bring handy people, and it's kind of cool. And I would recommend doing that because it was actually just so good. I loved it, and it's profoundly changed my life. Now, I was ready to receive it.
What was it called?
It's called A New Earth.
Okay.
And there's lots of principles in it that will change your life, about holding on to things that he talks about, our pain body inside of us. It's almost being a different identity. That's fascinating. But for me, the biggest takeaway was it's being in this moment and being, not doing.
Yeah.
You've still got to do the things. You got to do the things, but you really need to, when you're doing the things, notice and be in the moment of doing it. Like right now, I am playing this beautiful thing. I am noticing the color. I am noticing the shine, and I'm going to notice the sound. How good's that? But whereas if you really take that moment and notice the moment, just pure joy.
Yeah. I agree, and it's hard not to get distracted, isn't it, by all of the things, and wake up and immediately start thinking of all of the things that you've got to do. But I just think we're not so different. Okay, we've got. This is a bit weird.
Yeah,
we've got arms and legs and eyes and heart and lungs and all of the things, just like a bird, or any kind of other wild animal, right? And they just they are completely present every day, aren't they, in their life, doing the thing that they have to do to live their life.
Yep.
They don't need a crew. I know they're not smart enough, but they don't need anything else.
It's like
wake up with the sunrise. They sing and they
exactly. And I've learnt. I've never been a dog person, but in my new love, in my new life, I have this beautiful Australian stubby-tailed cattle dog, and his name's Junkie, and he's amazing. He's my Reiki dog now. He comes in session, and he'll go, and I go, yeah. bad, wasn't it? And we'll clear it together. Like, he's beautiful. He'll come and ask me for Reiki, and I'll give him Reiki.
Oh,
Like, his whole personality's changed. He's just beautiful. But I pay attention to him, and he is so in the moment when he's living his life. You know,
Yeah.
when he's silly, he's 100% silly. When he's hungry, he's 100% hungry. You know, he doesn't think, oh God, if I'm hungry right now, what's going to happen later on? You know, like, I mean, we are evolved, but let's take a little lesson from junk and try to live in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, it makes a huge difference to our lives.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that is a perfect note to close on. I could carry on talking to you forever. I say that to nearly all of my guests because there's just so many different rabbit holes we could go down. But we've
been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, I've loved every moment of it. It's so good to see you and
absolutely
catch up and hear all of your stories.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm keen to hear more about the witching.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's so fascinating. Oh my gosh, crazy. Anyway, all right. Many blessings to everybody and for having me. And
thank you so much. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.